Alright, now that we've got our object animated and in-game, we are going to texture it and test it again. So, basically, we still just have 3 files. We have our, well, technically 2. Don't worry about the script log. We have our back file, which is our source file we're editing, and our CGA, which is this file that we actually exported that we tested in the Sandbox. So, we're going to need another tool for this tutorial. I'm going to be using Photoshop with the CryTiff plugin. If you go to Help, About Plugin, CryTiff plugin, this will basically show that you have the CryTiff plugin installed successfully. So let's just go ahead and create the texture, go to File New. I'm just going to do 16 by 16. We're just going to do a very basic gray SDK texture basically. Open up your color palette, go ahead and just select a gray, whatever color you want. Go ahead and go to Edit, Fill, Foreground Color, OK. Now you see you have a little gray square there. Now go ahead and save it as, we're going to just save it in our game objects tutorial folder, which is this folder where the rest of our files. Just going to name it TUT and save it as a CryTiff plugin. Save. Now a dialog box is going to come up. Go ahead and change diffuse low quality up to the very top one, which is diffuse high quality. Go ahead and hit OK. Now we're done with Photoshop. Go ahead and close that. Now, you'll see in the tutorial folder, we have a tut.tiff and a tut.dds. I've noticed sometimes the CryTiff plugin will create a DDS, sometimes it won't. I think it depends on the quality or the compression you use. Care, because we aren't going to use the DDS. So, back into 3ds Max, our 2 objects. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the material editor. Yours might look like this if you're using 2012. I like to go to modes and change it to the compact material editor. That's what we're going to be using for this tutorial. Okay, slot 1 here should be named 01 default. Go ahead and rename it to TUT. This is very important because this is actually going to tell the object what material file to look for. So make sure you name that TUT. Go ahead and click the standard button and go ahead and double click the multi-sub object. Go ahead and discard the old material. Now you'll see we're in the TUT material here, and number is set to 10 materials. We actually don't want 10. We're just actually going to go ahead and set the number to 1. Now here you'll see we only have one ID. Go ahead and name this gray, GREY, hit enter, then select the None button. Then go ahead and double click standard. Now here at the top, go ahead and name this to gray. We're basically inside of a multi-material right now. So that's why, if you notice, we're inside gray. Now this is gray. Go ahead and change this to CryTeff shader, from blend to CryTeff shader. Now this is very important. If you want your actual object to have physics, like you can run into it or it can hit things and things like that, you need to click this physicalize button. And you can either you can set it to no collide if you'd like, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave it to default. Now go ahead and scroll down and open up the maps category here. Go ahead and click diffuse color, and then hit the none button, and then go ahead and double click bitmap. Now we are going to browse to this directory to select our TIFF file. Just going to go ahead and do it the hard way. Yes, go ahead and select your, I'm just going to delete this TS actually. I need it. Tut.tiff, go ahead and select it. Now you're going to see we're in the diffuse color. Now go ahead and you can leave that name, diffuse, map, whatever, that doesn't matter. You'll see a button right here. It says go to parent. When you hover over it, go ahead and click that. And that's going to take us up to our gray. We go ahead and hit up again, and that's going to take us back to the root of our submaterial, which is actually this. Actually, before we do that, go ahead and go back into gray, and you'll see a little button here that says show shaded material viewport. Go ahead and click that. Now let's go back up. And we're simply up here in this number 1 slot editor. Go ahead and just drag and drop it on both of our objects. Now this multi-sub object is actually going to apply to both of our objects, which is so next thing we're going to do is go ahead and go over, select your TUT 001, which is the base block. Go ahead and go over to the Modify tab. And where it says Box here, go ahead and right-click on it and convert it to an editable poly. Now you'll see down here the polygon tool in the selection area. Go ahead and click it. Now go ahead and hit Control A, or another thing you can do, I believe, is go to Edit, Select All. too. Control A, edit, select all, same thing. Now you're going to see it selected all the faces. Now if you scroll down here, you will see a polygon material IDs. Go ahead and type in number 1 and hit enter. Now you'll notice it says gray here in this drop-down list. That's very important that it says gray. If it does not say gray, that means your multi-sub object here has not been applied correctly. So you'll just need to drag and drop. Remember to drag from up here and not here. You can drag from here as well, but that does not work. You need to drag from your actual slot. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and scroll up, unselect our polygon tool. Now I'm going to click on the ball, which is TUT002. Go ahead and right-click on sphere and convert that to an editable poly as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and select the polygon tool again. I'm going to hit Control A. Now we're going to scroll down and do the same thing here. See how this ID was set to 2? That's no good. We need to set it to 1. And as you can see, it says gray again. So we're going to go ahead and scroll up again and unselect the polygon tool. Go ahead and click away from that. Let's go ahead and save that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to actually generate the material file that CryEngine needs to display this properly. So go ahead and make sure you have Sandbox open in the background. You don't need to open a level or create a level or anything like that. Just have Sandbox open. Go ahead and go over to Utilities tab. In your CryEngine 3 exporter category, if you scroll down, you'll see this little material section. We need to go ahead and click Create Material. Now what this is going to do is this is going to actually call for Sandbox in the background to create our material. So we're going to go ahead and go into Game Objects Tutorial. And this is theoretically this folder here, it's just not showing these files. So we're actually going to name this TUT and then just hit enter. Now go ahead and click this little box to come up with the actual material editor box. You can actually tweak things from within here. Let me see if it has it diffused. Doesn't. You can actually tweak the texture within here. Anyways, okay. I'm not sure why this isn't working. Just go ahead and hit the Save Item button. Click a few times, make sure to close that. We can just go ahead and minimize Sandbox for now. Now you'll notice it created a material file, tut.mtl. Go ahead and double click on that, or if you haven't opened an MTL file before, open it with Notepad. So if you were to double click on it, it'll come up with something like this. Let's go ahead and open it with Notepad. Now, I like to go ahead and scroll over and change the diffuse to 0.1. Red, green, and blue. Go ahead and change them to 0.1. Wow, I can type. What? 0.0. Oh boy. Yeah. Just said, oh, what is going on here? Shenanigans. 0.01. Comma 0.01, comma 0.01. Change all that to 0.01. All three of those values. Go ahead and save that. That's basically going to make it so that it's original color and not brighten it. If you were to put that to 1.0, 1.0, 1.0, it would pretty much make it 10 times brighter than what it should be. As far as that's concerned, that's done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to re-export. Make sure it's still on animated geometry. Make sure animated objects is still in the list. Export nodes. It's going to ask you, would you like to overwrite? Yes. And if you notice, that time I did not get any degenerative faces errors because I actually have texture applied to it properly. So go ahead and go back open to Sandbox, and assuming you save the last level that we tested this in, it should automatically be there and animated. There it is. Top in the game. Notice I can shoot it. It's good, I can't just walk through it, which is the physicalized portion of the texture we applied. And that's it for this tutorial.